Welcome to Life, Love, and Jesus. And today we are picking up in our journey through scriptures in Numbers chapters 33 and 34. Tomorrow we will be wrapping up the book of Numbers. So if you have not signed up for my email list, do so today so you can get that one-page study guide on the Friday after the last chapter of Numbers is published. And let's just dive into this content and see what we can learn from God's Word today. So, chapter 33 is really just kind of a summary of what Israel has done since it left Egypt, of their journeys, where they've gone, and some of the major events on that journey. Just a few things are mentioned, though, but not everything. It basically says we set out from here and then we went there and then we went there and then we went there. And this is just Moses really recording where they went, and it doesn't say how long they stayed in each place, but all the moves they made throughout the 40 years they were in the wilderness. And then he reminds them that they are to drive out the inhabitants of the land when they cross the Jordan and go into the promised land. And then chapter 34 picks up and describes the boundaries of the promised land, the boundaries that they are supposed to conquer once they enter into the land. And then it ends, chapter 34 ends with listing the men from each tribe, the chiefs from each tribe, who will be responsible for dividing the land among the tribes. The largest tribe will get the largest allotment of land, and the smallest tribe will get the smallest allotment of land. And that makes sense. It's all very proportional. Just like justice was to be proportional, so is the division of the land meant to be proportional. And so that's the content of these chapters. It's kind of cut and dried, not a lot of excitement and, well, why is God doing that kind of things, like the long discussion we had yesterday about why does God sometimes command the things he commands. Much easier to understand. It is looking forward to when Israel enters the promised lands and the conquering and the wars that are coming down there. So the discussion from yesterday would certainly apply as we look to the future, but in these chapters today, they don't necessarily apply. And so then after we look at the content, we always go to our 3 questions. What do I learn about God? What do I learn about myself? And what do I need to obey or change in my life because of what I have learned from God's Word today? And this is what I want to read to you from my answers today. I very seldom read the answer for question number 3, but that's what I'm going to read today. What do I need to obey or change? I need to live with true biblical empathy, compassion, and love for others, which means standing for truth as well as loving them. I need to become better at living both grace and truth. And there's, of course, in John chapter 1, it describes Jesus as being full of grace and truth. We cannot have love for people if we're willing to lie to them. We have to stand for truth, but we have to do it in a loving way. And I need to get better at that. I'm pretty good at standing for truth. I'm not so good sometimes about doing it in a loving way. And then there are those that are just the opposite of me, that they are loving and compassionate and want to take care of people. And that's wonderful. It's wonderful. Those people are needed in the world. But then in that desire to be so loving and kind and merciful, sometimes they'll shade the truth a little or just downplay the truth. And we need to be people that are loving and truthful, that are full of grace and truth. God's truth matters, especially in a world full of lies like one we live in. So that is what I wrote down for question number 3. What are your 3 answers today? What did you learn about the Lord today? What did you learn about yourself today? And what do you need to obey or change in your life today? Now, before I close, I do want to say, you're probably thinking, where did that come from? And this is what I wrote in my notes. I said, God desires to bless his people, that's seen in chapter 33, but he will judge them if necessary. And that's the end of chapter 33. So that's the love and the truth. Okay. The blessing and the judgment, or the punishment, or the consequences. So that's where that came from, my answer. Just in case you were wondering, where'd you get that from? Okay. Thank you for joining me. I've had a lot of long videos the last few days. This is much, much shorter. Look forward to wrapping up the book of Numbers with you tomorrow. Like and subscribe and share this video with all your friends and families. Have a wonderful day as you live for the Lord.